Hello, hello. Happy Thursday, November 6th, 2025. I'm like really far away from the bench here. Hang on. All right. I didn't turn my light on over there because I wanted to see what the shining light of the heavens here is going to do to me, but we'll try it out today. It's one less thing I got to do, all the better. Let's see. A little bit of business. Dr. G's has been ordered. So if you're looking for deoxidizer or the little bottle of the Clean and Shine, which I highly recommend if you get the deoxidizer to use this after, you'll see me spraying this on parts. That hopefully should be here within maybe next week sometime. Fingers crossed. So that's all. That's ordered and hopefully coming soon. So it is up on the website. If you're interested, go ahead and normally I don't put stuff up there until I have it, but this one I know people are interested in, so go ahead and put in a in-stock notification for it. You can go to the page, put your email address in there, hit enter, and then you'll be notified when it arrives, the minute it arrives. So there's that. Busy day today. I don't know where all the time went. I've been packing since we got here at 6:45. So, and I've been packing orders, and I had a client come in this afternoon, and I have no idea what I've done all day. I have no idea. Lamy came today. We had a Lamy order show up today, and it's the first order under new ownership, shipped under new ownership. So of course everything is different. It's under Uniball, and I really should show up, but I'm not going. At this rate, your mustache will be covering your mouth. It's it's coming in there. It's coming in there. We'll see. By next week it'll be. It won't look like an accident. And then maybe I can shape it or do something with it. But Uniball put these they put stickers on obviously on the boxes to tell you what it is, and you can't read them. It's a barcode, and the type font is like so small. You used to be you could read it from 4 or 5 feet away. And I told Lisa when she came in for lunch, I said, okay, I'm going to show you a box. You have 3 seconds to tell me what is in this box. And I put it in her hands. I said, 1, 2, 3. And I took it away. She's like, I have no idea what the hell's in there. No cheating by plugging out the gray. Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that nonsense. Well, I mean, it's only going to last for 24 more days, right? So yeah, you can't read the labels on the boxes. They're useless. They don't even, hello Hans, how are you? They're useless. There's no product code on there. They have their own codes or whatever. So I can't even tell. I have no idea what's in the box. I mean, your studios in 2000s are in a different box from the Safaris and All-Stars, of course. But you can't even look at it now anymore and go, oh, it's an L14, which is the blue Safari, and then you can kind of make it out from there. It's not even that obvious. It's ridiculous. And then I always have them ship them to me in flats instead of putting the pens in boxes, because it's a nightmare trying to then match up because the label they put on the box. And then when you go sell it, you've got to, you either, if you have them out, it's way easier. Okay, I need a white Safari. You go to the tray, you pull the white Safari out, you look for the right nib, and if you have them in order, the first one's extra fine, the second one's fine, the third one's medium. And then you just grab a box. Well, when they give you the stickers, you either gotta mark up the box, which looks ugly, or you gotta spend time and like sort through everything to find the right pen in the box. I'm just not doing that. And so I had them, they were shipping them to me in flats, but now under Uniball, that was not apparently I hope I can just ask for them to do that in the future, but they did not. I don't know if it's a completely different warehouse. I really don't know what's going on. So hopefully that nonsense is not going to continue, because you just can't operate that way. I don't know anybody that can. They put the sticker then on the pen, which kind of sucks, but it's way easier on the retailer side to go. Your mind can pick out a color, and if you have them organized, you can pick out the nib without even looking at it. You double check, of course, but then you just grab a blank box, the little insert, and the warranty card, and you're good to go. So, and then the invoice. Well, actually, they didn't send an invoice. They sent a packing slip. Like, you got to send me an invoice so I know what to pay exactly with shipping and all that stuff. So I don't know. I don't have an invoice, I don't think. The packing slip is the most complicated packing slip I have ever seen in my life. It has so much useless information that does not pertain to me. I gather it pertains to the warehouse or something. I don't really know. It's not a pick list, so I don't know. There's like shelf number, catalog number, eaches, this, that, the other thing. There's like actually 2 lines per SKU over on the. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's just, I don't understand companies that have to make this stuff so complicated. It doesn't need to be that way. I love the product. I I just don't get it. I have another vendor that sends invoices out, and every other line item is grade, sort of. But then some line items have, like, they continue on. If they're too long to fit onto one line, they continue on to the second line. But then there's a line through it, so it looks like it's 2 line items, but it's not. And then sometimes there's no line. I mean, that's the worst. It's impossible to read. Like, people need to get your stuff together. I mean, you can do a better job in the spreadsheet. I'm telling you. Excel is your friend, whatever. And if not, there are people that customize forms in ERP systems for a living, and it's not that expensive. Do everybody a favor. You can't tell me that works for these people. You can't look at that and go, "Oh, that makes sense." Make it easy. Make it easy to read. All I'm saying. I'm on fire. I'm on fire. You didn't come here to listen to me rant about that, I suppose. I just had to get it off my chest. It's terrible. It's terrible. Too many hot takes. I mean, there must have been, for one line item on this Lamy order, I kid you not, there had to have been, well, I can tell you. Slow day at work, you can tune in. Hang on, let me find it here. I took a picture of it. So one line item on the form has a pallet number, 2 instances of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16. One line item. So this is like Lamy Safari Blue Fine Nib, right? There are then subsequently, I'm sorry, 18 data fields. You can't call them columns because there's 3, 4, 8 of them are split down the middle. You've got detail, shipped, ordered, unit. I don't know what dimensional quality is, dimensional unit of measurement, cubic feet, and pounds. I don't need that. I don't need any of that. And then some of these are duplicated. So there's 2 columns that have shipped and 1 column for ordered. Why do I care what pallet it's on? I don't care. Does that help you? I mean, and then the name, it's ridiculous. It's got like all this, it's like all this extra stuff after Lamy, Safari, Blue, fine, and then like a bunch of other stuff that doesn't make any sense. That it doesn't. I mean, I don't even know. Don't even know what it means. It's like acronyms, and I don't even know. Like you could, and this was 4 pages for a really small order. Four pages, single sided, 8.5 by 11. It sounds like they don't want to have to print a common sense customer package. No, it doesn't make any sense. It's not common sense at all. It was so hard to read. All right, there's my Brian rant for the day. You know, I had a conversation with my Groff rep yesterday, and she's awesome. She's really great, really great. And I told her, I said, you know what, because you know, Groff discontinued the Loom. Their Faber Castell discontinued the Loom, which is really a great pen. They had it in great colors, they had vibrant colors, they were fun. And then Faber decided they're going to do this. I don't know. Is it a uber German thing where all the colors have to be dark? They're black, they're matte black, they're polished black, they're olive black. They're, you know, so it's like a cross Schaefer thing. Everything is chrome or black. And, you know, and then maybe there's like a green. You know, I'm all for the olive, but I said, you know what? These people, they need to be in retail. They need to ask somebody. They just make this stuff. Talk to people. They need to be on the front lines. Go to a show. See what people want. Even then, I think they ought to talk to the retail because we're the ones that are pushing the product. You know, you discontinue a blue pen, and then you wonder where your sales went. Like blue's the most common color, bar none. You make a pen is blue, it sells. But hey, let's take it out of the lineup because olive green is good. I mean, olive green's fine as long as there's a blue and, you know, an orange and, you know, I mean, something bright and fun. She was cool. She was cool about it. I said, you know, when you have reps that allow you to be yourself and want you to give you that honest feedback, those are the best reps ever. The ones that you have to kind of tap dance around because you don't really want to tell them how much either the vendor, the distributor, the product line sucks because they do something stupid that makes it difficult to do business. What are you gonna do? All right, so that's my Brian rant for the day. I'm done. Reminder, I know I just said it, but I did start a couple minutes early. I may end a little bit early because today's the short day. And it's I don't know, it's been a long week. I'm tired. Dr. G's coming hopefully next week, maybe next week. So it's been officially ordered. I think the Deox is maybe coming before the Clean and Shine, but we'll see. If you're interested, sign up for a back in stock notification. When they come in, you'll be notified. You'll be one of the first people to sign up for it. They're on the website under repair, supplies, pen cleaning is the subcategory for that. All right. When you worked at office supply store, you had to deal with strange things that the corporate offices would do. I always kept saying corporate needs retail training experience. Exactly. Send these people down and make them do my job for a week. Not just a day, a week. I'm here early, yeah. The show's coming tomorrow? Awesome. That was a cool pen. That was like the house favorite, man. Everybody wanted that. My daughter wanted it. So, yeah, what else is new? Oh, you know what? I'm going to do this right now. There are some new, I got like 700 tabs open on my screen here. There's some new vintage pens up, and I forgot to make 4 of them live. I had a gentleman here this morning who was looking to buy some Skylines, and so I held them back for him. But I'm going to make them live on the website now in case anybody is interested in that stuff. And before I forget, these all have striped caps. They're pretty neat. Maybe I'm not going to. Come on. There we go. All right, so those are up in the vintage category. Yeah, so yeah, there were 4 striped Skylines. All right, let's get cooking just so I can. The most pressing question of the day is, did Lisa like the Aurora? Yeah, so usually what she does is the most terrifying moment for me when I hand Lisa a pen, especially after I've inked it, is I watch her write, and she writes down how she feels about the pen. So you know if it's good after she writes like her first sentence, because she'll write like beautiful blue Aurora scratchy nib. You know, then you go, oh, you know. But she wrote something like, thanks, Brian and Hans, or something like that. So she loves it. She loves it. She really can't use it at work though, because she does sign things and then she hands her pen to the customer, and then she's got, you know, doing 100 million things. So she doesn't really use she uses a like an Acroball apparently at work. So, but yeah, she loves it, which makes life easy for me. So, all right, let's look at this blurry desk here. Let's tune that up. We're gonna put this guy together. That'll be fun. And then we're gonna figure out what we're gonna do with this motley crew of. They're not all bad. These two this one especially disappointed me. What are you gonna do? And then we can test all of these, so that'll be good. But let's put this one together. I did not get a chance to look for a nib for my Diamond Point ink tab, but it's sitting here on my desk, and I'll figure something out. I know I got something. I'll steal it from another pen somewhere. So the problem is, you know, warranted nibs are not all the same. They all look a little different, you know, and I kind of know what warranted nibs look like for the Diamond Points. So it has to look like that. Hans, how was the HOA meeting? Your orange pen. You had me going there for a while because I didn't actually look at the. I read the text on my phone and then I later looked at the picture. Or I read the text on my watch and I later looked at the picture on my phone. I said, "Well, that's not a fountain pen." It was just as expected. Okay, the same as it is every month or however often you have them. Petty bickering and so and so's lawns a quarter inch too high and they put their garbage can out. They left their garbage can out 20 minutes too late. I'm always asked for a pen, so nothing good was going to the meeting. Oh, yeah. You're not going to hand him an emperor? What you need to do is you need to get a ballpoint that's like dying, and then so when they borrow it, it blurps out jelly ink all over their page and gets on their pants. They'll never ask you again. In this case, it was 3 weeks it was left out. Oh my god. Well, if you have to use something that'll be decent, I got a box of Uniball Zento rollables. They're actually quite nice. Huh? This section's stuck halfway in. I can't push it in. I can't get it out. I'm coming up a year on my condo. I've yet to have an actual homeowners association meeting. Of course, there's actually only two people in the HOA, so one guy owns 3 units and I own the other. So probably not much to talk about. One time I brought a decent pen, they asked about it, and that was 10 minutes we could have been spending on business. The discussion ended with them thinking I was even more weird than they already thought. Remember, with craziness, there is power. I was funny story. I was riding on Zwift last night. And I'm just, I'm going along, I do my own business. I don't have like, a lot of people they follow other riders and then, that way like there's an in-game aspect to it that sort of makes sense. If you have more followers, you can get more points and you have possibility of getting more points and this, that, and the other thing. And and I'm right, but I don't care. I really don't care. I'm going to do it all on my own. It's fine. I mean, the advantage is like slim, and like there's only a couple people I want to follow, and they're like all pros. And I'm riding along, and all of a sudden, someone sends me a direct message. Says, "Brian, how you doing, man?" And I'm like, I don't know who this dude is. I for the life of me, I can't make it out. I'm trying to look him up. Picture is not helpful. And so I'm like, hey man, great. How are you? Like, I don't know. Maybe he bought something for me. I mean, it has to be, right? I'm not really terribly good with names, especially, at a show situation where you deal with 100, 200 people. You can't, I can't remember everybody. And he starts yammering on, and I'm going, he goes, oh, wait, no, man. I'm sorry. I thought you were a friend of mine from Boston, Brian Anderson from Boston. I said, no, sorry. I said, I thought maybe you were a customer of mine or something. He goes, I don't know. I might be. What do you do? And I'm like, oh, here we go. Here we go. I sell fountain pens. No, 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 I'm not one of your customers. And then that was it. Boom, gone. But I thought he thought for sure he knew who I was. I thought, I'm just gonna play along for now. Maybe I'll make a new friend. But I'm sure there was a conversation over dinner. Oh, I met this Brian Anderson. See those fountain pens? What a nut job. Yeah, it's hard to believe it's almost been a year. Yeah, they could have at least bought. I thought, you know what? I might as well be nice. Who knows? Maybe he's gonna need a nice rollerball or something because his buddy was an insurance agent or something, I guess. Although it's funny, he did. My profile picture on Zwift is clearly me. I mean, minus the mustache thing going on. But it's clearly me. I've got a helmet on, but like, do I look like you? I mean, maybe I look like his friend. I don't know. All right, let's try and see if this is good enough. Yeah, they could have bought something. I'm still waiting to date. And I've been riding on Zwift now for 2.5 years, 3 years. I know one person who collects pens that's on Zwift, and he's on Zwift like twice a year. So some would say that's an untapped market, but I don't know. made a friend at Ale many years ago. He had a question first. He asked who was Stevie Nicks. I said, yeah, he's a good singer. That would have ended the conversation right then. You can't help it. There must be others with both hobbies. It's not too late, Hans. I can get you hooked up. Couple days a week on the indoor trainer. You can still do work while you're doing it. You got the right setup. Yeah, there's got to be others. Holy crap, is this tight? You've been friends for 30 years? Happy Thursday. How you doing? Yeah, indoor without the risk of getting killed by cars? Yeah, yeah. Boy, this section is terrible. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this all the way in, which means now I got to get it out. You spent the morning at the DMV? Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, I do believe. Hey, Kendra, thank you for the follow. I do believe we have ourselves a Conklin. Oh, it's nice. It is nice. And I think I wonder who HCL was. And I really think that I thought this was, I would have preferred this to have been in just a little bit more, but I think it looks good the way it is. It doesn't interfere with the inner cap. Yeah, victory, right? Really nice. All right. Well, let's get to business on this then, huh? It was really, really, really hard to get in. HCL was someone with a touch of class and good taste. It would probably gift it to them. Maybe, huh? I mean, I just can't imagine saying I'm going to buy a pen and let's put my initials on it. I mean, is that a thing people actually do, or is? I mean, I've seen a lot of engravings that are to Betty from whatever promotion gift, maybe, or for an anniversary. I mean, I guess they did it back then. I mean, this was probably this. Most certainly, it was not. I mean, it's not solid, but this was not cheap. This was a not a cheap pen back in the day. Now, if I had the Conklin book, I could tell you more about it, but I don't, so I can't. So there it is. Schaefer did a ton of them, and many by the end user. Okay, yeah. Guess I haven't seen how does it. Oh, it posts nice too. A little bit long. All right, let's try it. Let's see what we got cooking here. Oh, that was worth. I think smooth opera. It's not bad. Could probably smooth this nib out a little bit. My concern is the amount of tipping that's on here is not very much. It's the right line width for me. That's a little better. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going. There's not much to it. There's really not much tipping there. Um, it's fine. You know, yeah, I like the width too. It's quite honestly, it's. I'll probably keep it on the kitchen table for a week, and then I'll put it away, and then that'll be the last we see of it for a while. Which I realize for some people is probably blasphemy, but do you think the engraving on the barrel and cap might have been an after sale purchase? Probably not. Yeah, yeah. I might take it out for. I've decided I'm going to do a little better job of the pens that I keep. I'm going to make sure whether I want to or not, if it makes sense, I'm going to make sure they're in working order. So if I want to use them, I can. I can't believe I'm going to do this, but I am going to put it in the spinner here. Pull that one out when I go to sign for my next Corvette. You know what? I'm not going to do this. The crescent actually prevents it from being very tight in there, so I'm not going to do that. Well, I will say, I was chatting with my customer this morning, and he was telling me how he's from an hour and a half south of here. He said that they're expecting snow this weekend, and I panicked, right? Because I haven't. It's what is it? November 6th, right? I haven't secured yet a storage unit for the Corvette. It's currently sitting at the um it's sitting at the dealership because they technically weren't going to be able to get it in until the 12th, but they said, well, if you bring it by, we'll will this work? If you bring it by, we'll we'll see if we can fit it in earlier if we have the time. So it's been sitting there, and I thought, oh crap, if I don't get a storage unit, then I'm going to be stuck with, 300 a month, and it's going to be an hour and a half away, or who knows what. So I called one of the local places, and the price was right. Unfortunately, they have two locations, one on East Side, one on West Side, and the East Side one was all booked out. So they got one on the West Side. I'm like, well, that's no big deal, right? I go to the West Side once to drop it off and once to pick it up, and that's all you have to deal with. And I did manage to get the very last storage space available for a car that they had. So I got that taken care of at least, but I still got to get it there. They put it on the battery tender for the winter. I do. However, even though the storage unit is climate controlled, I don't think it has power. So what I'm gonna have to do is pull the battery, and I'll bring the battery home and I'll put it on the tender at home. I really don't know if it's a modernish building or not. So I think I'm gonna have to make a trip over there once in a while just to make sure it's cool. But this is a cool medium nib. Wow. Almost stubbish. Around here, places have old barns that people store cars in for the winter. I used to do that. I like this car a little too much to do that anymore because you got to deal with. Not to say there aren't mice and things like that in these storage units, because there certainly are. For whatever reason, that doesn't fit in there. Let me. Okay, well, that fits. So they had two options for me. They said, well, you can either, it's like $210 a month and your first month's free, or you can pay $135 a month. Well, um, I'll go with the cheaper option because who knows? All right, so here's another one. Same pen, but more of a fine nib. Really kind of a medium, but it's not as chunky as the one that's marked medium. Of course, the original chalk mark on here is. Oh, this is marked medium actually. What is this? These are both marked medium. I'm gonna call this one broad and this one. I have friends that have 3 cars with the garage only for one. They put the Jag in the garage. Not sure I understand that. Yeah, one of these he's not like the other. This is the one here that this sorry you can't see it. My big fat head's in the way. This black one here would go in the Sterling one. If I wanted to do that. I haven't decided yet. The problem is that rollerball section doesn't fit into this barrel. So I can either sell 2 pens or I can sell one nice fountain pen. Actually, now that I think about it, hang on. Hang on. I got my thinking face on here. Where are those nibs? I have nibs. We'll look for those in a little bit. I was just reminded I have nibs. So that problem may be solved. Okay. Well, we're going to try it like this because it apparently does not fit the piston converter. These fit. So aerometric converter looks like is what fits that, but that converter doesn't fit that pen very well. All right, next up, a custom grandee with the fine nib. Well, now that's a nice fine nib. Converter does a bang up job too. All right, so for the sailors, I'm going to have to syringe fill them. I don't have a pile of sailor short converters. I have a couple. Um, Believe it or not, there might be some on my desk here. No, none on my desk. I do have. You sold one for 150. Oh, the converter. Yeah, no. Boy, this is nice. This is really nice. Someone's gonna love this pen. I don't remember what I paid for it, but it was a steal, whatever it was. This nib looks like this is gold plated, but write's nice though. Holy yowza. I don't think it really, I almost don't think sometimes in this case that I mean, when the gold is that, when the nib is that small, if the pen writes, the gold is such a small percentage of the value of the pen. It could be gold. I really can't tell without pulling the nib, and we're not doing that. Write's great though. Such a cool. Yeah, it is so wonderfully 60s, isn't it? It's the right color. It's, you know. I love those early Sailor pens, but unfortunately, the nib quality was not, I don't think, was as good as everybody has grown accustomed to them being, if that makes sense. Um, they've gotten better over the years. Really annoys me when I see job lots in eBay perfect, but minus the nibs. You know they've been sold for the gold. Yeah. Yeah, there was somebody on one of the, I think it was the Schaefer Collector Facebook group a week or so ago, was really not seeing the big picture. They had a beautiful Imperial with the gold nib, and all they were concerned of was that the nib was gold. They didn't understand that the rest of the pen was worth like 5 times the melt value of that pen. Yet they think they're gonna make it rich on the nib. If you had that tray of pens in front of you, you'd have to gently see if the Conklin slip cap would fit on one of those pocket pens. What are you, crazy? Well, because you know it'd look better on this one. That's it. Somewhere around here, I have one of those. Yeah, it was a fun thought, wasn't it? Where the heck did I put that? I've got one of those sailor maintenance kits. Let me find it. I don't know. Yeah, I remember buying a lot in Japan many, many years ago, and it was like, I mean, it would have been a killer lot, and it was like 30 or 40 pens, maybe. And it had arrived, and every single pen was missing a nib. Conveniently not shown in the auction. I probably made my money back on that lot just in the parts, but not a single pen had a nib in it. Good afternoon, Jason. How are you today? Well, split screening you, Brad, and working multitasking. All right. Not a bad way to spend your Thursday afternoon, I guess. Really ought to keep one of these custom grandees for myself one of these days. I just love this clip. Nib is cool. It's full size. I mean, what not to like about it? You see a pen for sale on eBay, they don't show the nib. You You just go right on past it. Yeah, I mean, some people don't, unless it's a exceptionally rare piece, and it doesn't matter whether or not it hasn't. Like if I saw this pen and we didn't know if it had a nib or not, it wouldn't matter. I mean, if the price is right, it wouldn't matter. I mean, if you're paying full retail, yeah, I kind of want to see pictures, but I also don't want to draw attention to other bidders. I don't understand the laziness of some eBay sellers. Right, did I shake this one out? I can't remember. This one doesn't fit in the. There we go. Say goodbye to the Conklin. That's a pretty good group. That guy will grace my house soon enough. All right. All right, this lot. Ugh. I don't know who made this custom duofold. It's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't think so. I don't think it's a Thompson. Chris would have marked his work. There's no mark on this whatsoever. And I don't really feel like the quality is there. Um, I kind of feel like the section was made. It's not from an original. Um, that's what you really think of them. It's hard rubber. I mean, for as long as I've known Chris, he's marked his pens. And I considered buying a pen from Chris back in 2000. I can't believe this is a Kulik, though. The threads just don't look all that great. I mean, the way the threads are cut, I mean, they work, but they're fairly shallow. That a shape or feed? Yeah, that's a good question, huh? Oh, it's got the later one. No, I think it's a dual fold feed. I don't like all this flooding though that's going on. All right, so I filled it again. I let out 5 drops. Maybe that's the trick on this one. I have to let a few drops out so it doesn't clog. Um, Flood the feed. Interestingly enough, um, the old Dubiel method of holding onto the pen and heating it up was debunked by Ron at the show. He says it's not really a valid test because you never hold the pen that way. Well, someone who's got a Duofold senior collection, it feels great. It's a little smoother. It was kind of rough. Since you mentioned Frank Dubiel, I should send you the copies I have of Father Terry's parts catalogs and repair instructions from the 90s. They're interesting. Lisa told you the story about. Oh, no, it wasn't Father Terry. It was, yeah, never mind. Never mind. That is not a discussion for polite conversation, as they say. This is a nice little pen. You realize we're getting to a point where pretty soon no one's going to know who Frank Dubiel is, which is really going to date a lot of us. Well, I could write with this pen all day. This is so nice. You have a spare copy of his book just begging for a new home? I haven't looked at. I'm trying to think. Do I have a copy? A signed copy, maybe? It's Lisa's, actually. Yeah, that'll work. That's a great nib. Who is Frank? Frank Dubio? Frank Dubio is like the godfather of pen repair. Always willing to help a beginner. Always a little cranky. Some of his methods are now maybe controversial and should not be used in any way, shape, or form. Um, big fan of wherevers, actually, believe it or not. Used to tell stories about finding Waterman 20s at junkyards and sticking dynamite in them and blowing them up. Yeah, you don't need an alcohol burner. Yeah. Well, I bought his book when I first started collecting in '98, and guess what I bought? Alcohol burner. Guess how long it took me to burn a pen? 1 day. Guess how long I used that? 1 day. That was it. You have two? Yeah. Yeah, they used to stick firecrackers in Waterman 20s just to see them blow up. He also used to tell stories about customers sending in pens to repair to them. They would send a 58 in an envelope, literally just an envelope. You still have the melted 51? Mine was a Schaefer. I don't remember what kind of Schaefer. It might have been a vac fill. I don't know. It might have been a balance. I mean, I don't know why I would have taken a vac fill apart other than some absurd level of confidence that I really didn't have. All you wanted to do was realign the hood. Well, you didn't. But can you imagine? You're sending a Waterman 58 in for repair. You just throw it in an envelope. No padding, no packaging, a white envelope. And that went about as well as you can imagine. Um, that world was less 158 at that point in time. But he was when back when alt what was it, alt CPP or alt the Yahoo groups, was it Yahoo groups? Yeah, Yahoo groups. I mean, he answered everybody's questions. You could always count on Frank to do that. And if it was a dumb question, he'd answer it and let you know it was dumb. But then you'd know and you'd learn something from it. Stuff versus italic was your question? I actually only met him once at Chicago Pen Show back in, was probably 2000, maybe 2001. And he was standing behind his table with a small pile of pens and a stack of books, his arms crossed. And I was nervous to go up to him. And I went up to him and said, "Hi, how you doing? My name is Brian." was kind of the reaction I got. Deep down, he was a good guy, though. I think he was gone before your time. Yeah, I think he passed away. I think his mother passed away, and then um he was out shoveling snow and he had a heart attack and he passed away while shoveling snow. I mean, if there's one thing that you don't want to do is die while shoveling snow. Not to make light of it, but pens in heaven are in better shape now, that's for sure. All right, what's wrong with this pen? This pen looks good. Well, it's got a vac nib in it. Well, he ended up hooking you up with a snorkel for $40. Yeah. That was probably a premium price in the day. You know? I wish I would have. I mean, you can't change things. And I shouldn't say I wish I would have collected other things other than Esterbrook's, but Esterbrook was all I could afford. But I don't know what the price of 51s and Vacuumatics and all that stuff was. I mean, the only pen I remember was buying this pen for $40 back in probably 2000. And that was like a lot of money for me. Yeah, too good to be true. What a writer. Ye gads. It wasn't bad in the early 2000s. Restored, still have a terrific writer. Yeah, probably early 2000. Yeah, I want to say it was probably passed away not too long after I saw him that first time, which I think was 2001, maybe. It was at the old Rosemont. This is an awful nib. just, just terrible. It's got iridium tipping galore. It should be a really great writer. It just doesn't. You were chatting on AOL with him and just sent him a check, huh? The good old days. Did you ever buy a pen from Pam Braun? Now that was an experience. Yeah, that wouldn't work these days. Far too trusting of a soul. That you did not. Anybody in chat ever buy something from Pam Braun, Oscar Braun, which was in where was Oscar Braun? It was on the East Coast. Is it Boston, New York? Nobody. You'd send Pam an email. Her website was like nothing. It was like as bad as a 19. I mean, I don't know when the World Wide Web came around, but I mean, it was like straight HTML. There was nothing to it. Here are the brands I carry. Here's my email address. Let me know what you want. I think I bought my first Vanishing Point from her. And it was a ridiculous price. Yeah, yeah. It was a ridiculous price. And she said the price is, whatever it is, $125, $100 or whatever, which was, really, really cheap. And she had the thing in the, send me a check. She had it in the mail before she got the check. I mean, I literally got it like 2 days later and I just sent the check out. Yeah, I wonder if it's on, I wonder if Oscar Braun is on the archive.org. I don't think she ever got taken advantage of, but I think today there's too many scammers. That's too trustworthy. I mean, I, I, I do it with like, there's like maybe 3 people I do that with. And you better have known me for a long time before I pull that stuff. Otherwise, I'll just sit here and I'll wait because yeah, she was cool though. OscarBraun.com, I think is what it was. You wanted a great price. That's who you went to. And I want to say it was a Carbonesque. Blue? Blue Carbonesque, maybe? You're always smart to get money first. Yeah, yeah. You have 5 or 6 customers that get things shipped on faith, but that's it. Yeah, and you don't get any chances. If you get to that faith level, if you screw up, that's it. Never again, you know, assuming you come back. I mean, I realize stuff happens. Don't get me wrong. But you can't run a business when you're shipping stuff and stuff goes out and money doesn't come in. That gets old quick. There we go. This is not quite, this is not a senior, but it's chunky. I don't know what model that is, but it's streamlined. Lucky curve feed. Oh, here we go. Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right. Hang on. Thank you, Hans. Yeah, this is it, I think, here. Yeah. Yeah. Look at this. I'll move this over. Online shopping meets discounts. Old school. Oh my gosh, he's got mountains, the Monteverde Mountains of the world on here. Lamy 2000 for 94.88. Yeah, all right, that didn't work. Sailor 1911, $160. King of Pens, 550. Last updated 2006. Yeah, there's always call Pam for price because she didn't want to get in trouble selling stuff for 40% off retail. What a blast from the past. I think, part of it, I think she just had so much business because her prices were so cheap that it was more efficient for her to, you got a confirmed order. Here's the address. Um, she just shipped it out. Boom, she's done with the transaction. You're old enough to remember when Lamy 2000s were retailing under $100. I was never that interested in modern pens back then. All right, is there anything wrong with this one? What's wrong with this one? No name. Got a correct nib. Probably leaks. Seemed like too much for you at the time as a poor college student? Yeah, I mean, I was buying back in the day. Uh, the only reason I bought Esterbrook is because that's all I could afford. And at the time, they were $5 a piece. Now, this is a nice writer. Just got to see if it floods. Then I got invested in buying the hard to find Esterbrook's, and then those prices were all over the place. The reliefs and the Wirt made, Aiken Lambert made ones, and then by that time I had a good job, no kids, dual income. This is a nice pen. I just hate these feeds. I like them from a historical perspective, but the feeds are just, I won't say they're garbage, but they could be better. The Schaefer feed is the best. Did I tell you guys the story of the pen I saw in Ohio at Steve Wiederlight's table? Steve, of course, was one of the owners of Fountain Pen Hospital, and he was selling off Gary Lair's collection. So this is like the old time pen collectors hour today. Frank Dubio and Pam Braun and Gary Lair. And I recognized a pen on the table. And it was a Relief 12 with the original price sticker around the band. So by that point, they had moved on from paper labels, but they had a sticker. Of course, so if you don't know what it is, a Relief 12 is it's made by Conway Stewart. It looks pretty much like a Conway 27, I think. Is it the model number 27? Which is a slimmed down version of the 58. So if you're still with me, it's a English Esterbrook with a 14 karat gold Conway made nib that's stamped Esterbrook. And finding them with the original price band on it is, I mean, it happens, but it doesn't happen very often. And I remember they came up on eBay. Somebody was selling a large lot of Relief pens. And it saddened me because when there's only, one at a time, every one a month, every other month, I mean, you can afford to go long and get every one that you find. And which is what I was doing at that point in life. And this collection had so many, and I thought, well, it'd be really cool to have one with the original band, the original sticker on it. And So I'm bidding on it. And there were two. And I'm bidding, and Gary Lair decides to jump in on the bidding. Now, of course, at the time you can see who's bidding against you. And between Gary and I, we bid it up to some ridiculous number. I did win, but it cost me a pretty penny. I mean, it cost me way more, and the pen was black too. So, it was the most common, the least desirable color of a desirable pen. I don't remember what I paid for it. 200, 300. I mean, it was an absurd amount. It was way more than it was worth. But I beat Gary and I got the pen. Well, guess what? There was an exact duplicate of that pen, like the next lot. And I think it sold for like $65 because nobody else bid on it. Like, it was just Gary and I. And well, anyway, that's a terrible nib. Anyway, I'm looking down on the table and I said to Steve, Steve, these are Gary Lair's pens, aren't they? He said, yes, they are. He says, I'm still selling them for Myrna. And I looked down, and sure enough, there's that stinking Relief with the sticker on it. I mean, it had to be. There's the only one in the auction. I can't believe there would have been more than one. And I said, I remember this pen. I know this pen. I didn't even ask what he wanted for it, but. Oh, yeah, this is the nib that's not quite straight. Well, this is the last one in the bunch. So after this, we'll work on 45s or something a little more simple. I got it straightened a little bit, but it's like hyper extra fine. I remember calling Gary up on the phone one day. Anybody here ever buy pens from Gary? I called him up at work. And I was at work. And he had some Ester books in his catalog. One of them was a green plunger filler, and I forget what the other one was. But I call him up. These are the first words out of his mouth. I've got $1,000 Ester book, Brian. $1,000 Ester book. How do you react to that? $1,000 Ester book. He sure did. It was something too. Gary was generous enough and gave me the payment plan, except the payment plan didn't add up to $1,000. It was 3 payments of 400. Last I checked, that doesn't equal $1,000. Yeah, yeah, right. I mean, at that point, what are you going to do? He's already got you in for 800. This is just really, if I can get this pen to write, this is going to be a miracle. Which the other Gary Lara story, which I've told before, but I'll tell it again for those that are new here. Uh, we were in Baltimore, I think. No, Philly. It was Philly, and it was one of the many years where you get snowed in, and he wanted to sell me. Well, he had a bucket, and a big bucket. I mean, I'm talking. My hands are so far apart. They're wider than my iMac. I mean, it's like a 30-inch bucket full of Esterbrook stuff, and some of it was his, and some of it was Brenton Miller's. And if you don't know who Brenton Miller is, I'm not surprised. Brenton was almost before my time, but not quite. Brenton was what they called the Esterbrook kid. When he was really, really young, he and his dad collected Esterbrook's. And then met Jean Esterbrook at her home. Jean, the last surviving member of the family. And while he was getting married, his father passed away. He lost interest in pens, and he just held on to him for a while. So he was getting married. He wanted to get rid of the pens and use the money for his honeymoon, something like that. So he gave them to Gary. Gary put them in a bucket and put a bunch of his own stuff in the bucket and said, "Here's the deal. Tell me what you pay me for this stuff, my stuff and his, and we'll talk about it before the end of the show." So he gave me the bucket. We put it behind the table, and went about business as usual. And Sunday came, and Gary ended up leaving early. I think his mom ended up being in the hospital or something, or sick, and so they left the show like Saturday night. The intention was not to leave me with this bucket unless I bought it, but we hadn't talked about it. And I'm thinking it was nuts because we had no room in the car for this bucket. I mean, what am I going to do? I got to put it in the car somewhere, but there was no room for it. Lisa made room, being the genius Tetris performer she is. And we ended up taking it home. Made an offer on the stuff. Gary declined my offer, which was a shame. Britton accepted my offer, so I wrote Britton a check. Met him in D.C. Nice kid. But I ended up having this tub of stuff for I don't know how long, half the year. It was funny. Now it's right nice. If this didn't have that stinking crack in the section threads, this would be a really quite a valuable pen, but it is what it is. What are you going to do? $1,000 estimate, Brian. I mean, that sounds ridiculous even today. And this was 20 years ago, right? And 20 years ago, someone said $1,000 estimate. You just said, man, whatever you are smoking, pass it this way, because that's nuts. Nobody paid $1,000 for Esterbrook anything. And if it was $1,000 for Esterbrook, it was like 200 of them. But you can buy them all day long at $5 a piece. Cheaper in bulk. All right. All right. What other old timers we want to talk about? The old timer memory hour. I got a couple, but I can't remember his name. Showed up in Atlanta one year. He'll come to me. And they forgot he was coming. Or they didn't get the emails, like a weird thing to say. I mean, the dude was like 100 years old. But just an amazing collection of stuff. But they showed up. He showed up, and they had forgotten that he was coming or something, or he didn't return. And they said, "Well, crap, we gotta find room for him." So they found a tiny little table out in the hallway. Poor guy. And he spent most of the time asleep, because I mean, I would too if I was 100 at a pen show, probably. And I spin those out. And he just had pens on his table, and then people would just come up to him and make him an offer. They're like, Waterman 52s, yeah, $30. Actually, I felt bad because I had people coming up to the table and say, "Oh, they'd show me a pen. Well, what do you think about this? Is this a cool pen? Is this a good pen?" You know, and I'm like, oh, that's a great pen. Where'd you get it? Oh, well, the guy out in the hall. Oh, shit. I said to Lisa, I got to go out in the hall for a minute. You got to go. Trip time memory. Yeah. Yeah. Have a great night. Thanks for tuning in. We got a couple good pens in this lot. This one was pretty nice. All right. Well, it's a little after 4. Lisa's going to be coming in any minute now. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to pick out the next batch of pens maybe for next week. This is kind of a really good stopping point. I'll be glad to see those go away. They're not all bad. They're just, sometimes you get a batch of pens that's just, it doesn't open. It's got a crack. It's got a crack. Nib is iffy. I mean, whatever. So I don't need to do a dipless pen. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm gonna throw in there. Let's just do these. Just to get these out of the way. This is kind of the oddball. This is this weird, maybe Italian, maybe Japanese thing. I'll just use this tray. I got an ink stain in it anyway. Green, yeah, it's dark green. Nice thing is they're all, except for the blacks, they're all different colors. Now this one's got a black section, so that's kind of weird. Take that back. If this red one has a black section, we're screwed. Scott got back to you. Vacuum extraction tool should be available in a couple weeks. Great. Yeah, he said it was soon. All right, where's my tape? Believe it or not, I need a ballpoint. Johnner to the rescue. All right, so that's not right, but I'm just gonna clean this anyway. This nib is actually really super boogered up, and this converter didn't come out. See if I can heat it up. We're just gonna stick it in my little tool here. So there's a good reason right there for a ballpoint. So you can mark all your numbers on your nib units when you drop them in the ultrasonic. So it sort of fills, but I think the sack is all twisted up. All right, so the breather tube works. It fills all the way up to the top. As clean as can be. Except since the sack is all twisted up, it's really not compressing very well. I wonder if we can, hey, front me. I wonder if we can heat that, if that will snap back into place. I got nothing to lose. So I'm going to see if heat. It's kind of all twisted up here. Maybe heat will snap this back into place. It's not quite like a '51, but so with a little heat, it straightened itself out. There's a big kind of a crimp there, but it straightened itself out nice. I'm letting it cool down a little bit. I put it in some water so it would. That was a lot easier. Now I've got it's filled all the way to the tip with just 3. So it looks pretty new old stocky. That's a word. Um, Maybe Monday we'll put it on. We'll see what it. It really doesn't look like it's been inked. But that saves you a whole lot of hassle. I mean, you can see how just perfectly clean it is. You know, any little bit of that in there is from my. This is my dirty. That's actually what that is that's a reflection off the breather tube. So yeah, it's not even that. So we'll try that. I mean, that may be all that's necessary on this, because the rest of it looks super clean. No need to take it apart if you don't have to. Um, all right. Boy, these are inky. Holy moly. Next week we're going to try that vacuumatic cap again. See if we can get that open. It's been soaking for a while. The rest of the pen's done, so I'm ready to go. There we go. Nib is kind of borked up, but 1, 3, 4, 5. Let that sit in the ultrasonic there for a minute. Don't forget, tomorrow 1:30 p.m. Central we'll have a podcast. I will be back, and apparently the little side camera that Lindsay set up last week was a big hit, so that will return in hopefully an improved fashion. She's coming in a little early to test a different camera that has a little bit better color profile on it. There was no way to get the color profile correct on the camera that we were using, so we're gonna try something different, and we'll have a couple dozen vintage pens. We'll have new consignment pens that I showed off earlier this week. We'll have the first batch of those. We'll should be, fingers crossed, if I get them done in time tomorrow. It should be on the podcast, and provided my UPS arrives on time, we got a special new something that's coming in that I haven't had in a long time, probably a year. Well, there's a lot of stuff I haven't had in a year, but new product coming in, and that's that. I'm going to let the rest of this stuff soak. And it can soak the rest of the weekend. And don't forget, November is Movember. So support your mustached companions in support of men's health, mental health, suicide prevention and awareness, prostate and testicular cancer. Grow a stash, raise some funds. So that's what this is all about. All right. Other than that, it's been a productive week. I hope next week is even more productive, because we've got a bunch of more pens, and I've got a bunch of stuff I haven't shown you yet that came in yesterday. The collection I got. Some really cool stuff. Some modern, some vintage, some really good vintage, some really good modern. So we'll save that for. We can't have everything in 1 week. You know, they had the consignment, we had the Ohio Pen Show, and then this collection came in. So we'll save that for next week once I've cleared off. I need space, is what I need. I need to finish some of these pens and get them out. I have these trays, these black trays with the gray liners in them that I use, and they're quickly getting filled up with pens from collections and stuff that we buy in Ohio, and but I need to churn through them so that I can reuse them. So that's what we're gonna do next week. So other than that, thanks for tuning in. As always, appreciate it. Have a good evening, a good afternoon, a good morning, wherever you are in the world. Be kind, be well, and we'll catch you tomorrow at 1:30 for the podcast, all right? Take care, everyone. See you tomorrow. Bye now.